Hello YouTube, I hope you're all doing well. I am John Mansfield, and today in my studio we're going to take a look at this incredible amp by Tyler Amps called the 2020. If you are not familiar with Tyler Amps, I strongly suggest you check them out. I will leave that link in the description below. Amazing people, amazing amps. We'll take a look at the control layout and play through it a little bit and talk about some of the features. And if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Click the notification bell for future notifications. And if there's anything you would like to see or any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up down below. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what you just heard is a little demonstration of my clean tone directly into the front of the amp. My signal chain is I am using my Fender Ultralux Telecaster. This has the ultra noiseless single coil pickups in it. Plugged into my Line 6 Helix as my pedal board, using strictly pedals, no amp models, into the front of the bright channel on the amp. So before we dive into the features of the amp, I'd just like to talk quick about Tyler Amps. Tyler Amps is a family-owned company run by John Britton and his son. John is here in New Jersey, and to the best of my knowledge, he handles all the technical side of things. He does all the building. They're all hand-built. And again, to the best of my knowledge, his son kind of runs the artist relations side of things down in Nashville. Tyler's a fairly well-known name in the Nashville scene, studio session players down there, and rightfully so. They really are amazing stuff. So this particular amp is a 20-watt all-tube design. This features a Tolex cabinet. It's got the Eminence Texas Heat 12-inch speaker in it. Tubes are all JJ branded. It's got two 12AX7s in the preamp, two 6V6s in the power section, and one 5AR4 rectifier tube. It's pretty simple amp in design and layout. It features two channels, a bright and a normal channel, with three controls. You have a volume for each channel and one tone knob. But the way this amp works, it's really cool. All three controls are very interactive with each other. And one thing to point out is, you know, you can get these amps built pretty much however you want. They are a custom company. They build to order. So you can get different cabinet designs, coverings, you know, from exotic woods to different types of Tolexes. A lot of these you can get either a combo amp or a separate head and cab version of them. You can get custom speakers, custom tube configurations. They are, again, hand-built by John himself with all top-notch components. I mean, these are just rock-solid quality amps. They have everything you need for great tone and nothing that you don't need. Again, rock-solid, very reliable. Having met John, you know, I am 100% confident that should anything ever happen with this amp or any of my Tyler amps, I'm in great hands. John Britton is that guy that's going to take care of you. No questions asked. Okay, so that being said, let's dive into the controls and take a look at how I use the amp and some of the features. So again, it's pretty simple layout and design. I always tend to use the bright channel. And the way these knobs work is whatever channel you're plugged into is kind of your main volume. However, the channel that you're not using, that volume also interacts in some pretty cool ways. I find that as I start to roll the unused volume control in, it starts to bring some bass in, some low end, and as you get up toward the top of the range, it starts to act like an attenuator and cut and roll off some of that low end. So I'll just kind of play a little bit and run through that control now so you can hear it. So you can hear what it sounds like here with the volume all the way off on the normal channel. Really nice tone. And as I start to bring this in, you'll hear it get more low end, more bottom end. Maybe just a little more scoop too. Really cool though. And as I bring this up and I start to attenuate, kind of rolls off some of that bottom end as well and thins it out a little bit. So really cool stuff. Now, I tend to use it, you know, kind of backed off here. Just a little bit of the normal channel in, mostly the bright channel volume. And where I have the controls right now, believe it or not, is pretty much my gigging setup, my gigging volume with a full band. This amp is extremely loud for 20 watts. No problems keeping up whatsoever. So let's demonstrate the tone control just a little bit. So once again, you can hear that the amp doesn't get too bassy or out of control in the low end, and it doesn't get too aggressive or out of control in the top end as well. What I really like about these amps is they have a nice, rich, warm bottom end without getting flubby or getting in the way of anything, and enough top end to cut through the mix and retain a lot of that clarity. They sit really nice in a mix. They're really easy to mic, and they really just sit nice, nice full sound without, again, anything getting in the way. I tend to find that I roll off on the low end a little bit and actually kind of dial in some of the high end, which is something unheard of for me with any other amp. You know, I'm always trying to pull that top end out because they just get fizzy and just something I don't like to hear. And I don't seem to get any of that with any of the Tylers I've played. They all kind of seem to respond kind of in that same range, you know. Again, they all real easy to dial in, real simple, and just to the point. Just rock solid, and I mean, great tone. I couldn't be happier with my tone. I mean, in the 32 years I'm playing, I don't think I've ever been this happy with my tone. So let's go through a couple of my sounds. I'll bring in some overdrive here, and you can see this amp gets you into classic rock territory pretty easy too. Really cool stuff. So let's kick in a little bit of a heavier gain there. So again, I mean, that gets you clean into rock territory. I mean, just those three sounds cover a lot of ground. And one of the things that I found experimenting with using my Helix as the pedal board, while I'm transitioning back to my analog pedal board, is that this amp works amazingly well with the Helix amp models. So much to the point that I'll probably do a separate video on that, because that's a game changer for me too. There is absolutely nothing between the Helix and this 2020. There's absolutely no ground that I can't cover. And I'm not talking about, you know, just getting by. I'm talking about covering really well. With the Helix amp models, it sounds, you know, as an amp in a room should sound. And that's something I've struggled for the past 4 years with any modeling setup that I've tried. So that was a pleasant surprise. And once again, I'll probably do a separate video just on that. So let's, hearing that high gain, and I'll drop tune a little bit so you can see even in the low tunings, it still retains that clarity in the bottom end. Doesn't get crazy or out of control. I love it. And even if you need something just a little bit more aggressive, I'll kick in that tube screamer. I just love it. I could play that tone for days. Okay, so now we'll kick in a delay and let's hear a little bit of what my lead tone would sound like through this amp. Without the tube screamer, it's, you know, maybe a little bit more bluesy sounding. All great stuff. Again, I can play these tones for days. I mean, plenty of sustain, even on the lighter gain settings. Great stuff. Okay, so before I close out this video, I'd just like to talk briefly on my experience with Tyler amps and how I got started with them. A good friend of mine was playing Tyler amps, and we are currently working, writing, and recording with a very talented artist, Sandi Joy. I will leave a link to our latest release in the description down below if you'd like to check out how the Tyler amps sound in a real, like, musical context. And we were using his Tyler amps, two different models, a JT14 and an HM18. Both great amps. And what I found is I really loved just again, simple amps. They were, I mean, just tone machines. They were real easy to mic and record. And I didn't have to do a lot of work to them at all. I mean, they just really sat nice in the mix. And were just great amps. So with that, I started checking out some of the amp models. I ended up meeting John Britton and getting in touch with him. And we talked, and I kind of told him where I was at, you know, what I was looking for, some of my concerns with, you know, the amps and what I needed out of an amp. And, you know, I needed something that was going to cover everything from cleans to high gain territory because I do play, in a few different bands, and I do some fill in work and some session work. So I really wanted one amp that would cover everything. And he hooked me up with a Tyler JT46, and I love the amp. I mean, I played it for a couple weeks, and I had to have it. I bought it. And one thing I'd like to note is, these amps are purchased with my own hard-earned money. They are just fantastic. I believe in them that much. But they are bought. Except for this one, I don't own this one yet. This one, John was gracious enough to let me borrow for a few weeks and gig with it for a while. But I absolutely will own this amp. And we are currently working on a custom caramelized tweed cabinet for this amp, which is just amazing looking. So yeah, I started playing the Tylers, and I am hooked. And again, John Britton is just an amazing guy. He's treated me unbelievably well and has gone out of his way to help me out and with suggestions, advice, and with experimenting and trying out some of the different models and getting me where I needed to be. And again, after 32 years of playing, I couldn't be happier with my setup, my rig, my tone, everything. It's just a joy to play. And again, quality stuff. I mean, reliable. These things are going to last me forever. No worries there at all. So, again, make sure you check out Tyler Amps. Tell him I sent you. And I will close out the video with a little playing. And once again, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Feel free to share the video and hit me up with any comments or any questions in the comment section down below. All right, until next time, take care.